Well, citizen science is a great way to get kids observing outdoors and actually collecting data that is very useful for wildlife conservation. Many people think that you need to wait until spring to do citizen science projects, but actually there's one that I love to do in the winter, and that's using eBird to monitor birds. Now, of course, here in the Peterborough region, we don't have as many birds around during the winter months because many of our birds have migrated south. But that can actually make it a bit easier if you're an absolute beginner in looking for birds and learning to identify birds. Some people like to take a field guide along with them if they're just starting to identify things, but that can be a little overwhelming. There are so many birds to choose from, and this includes all of eastern North America, so it can be a confusing place to start. One of the things that we've done in the Pathway Project is to create a really simple visual checklist of some of the birds that are common to the Peterborough area in winter. That can help you at least get started in identifying some common birds. Now, in the winter months, many birds will be clustered around local bird feeders. It's easy to take a walk around your school. You might even have a bird feeder in your schoolyard. If not, go for a walk in the local neighborhood and see if you can find any houses that have bird feeders, and that can help you get started in looking for and identifying birds. There we go. There's a bird feeder. I wonder if there are any birds nearby. You might find seed-eating birds like cardinals. It's always wonderful to see a bright red male cardinal. If you're in town, look up onto the wires and you might see rock pigeons or starlings. And if you're lucky, you might even see a woodpecker. Woodpeckers love suet in the winter. Sometimes you have to be really still for the birds to come to the place that they normally congregate. So be patient. Some of the best places to look for birds are not only where there are bird feeders, but if there's cover nearby, so there are places for the birds to hide if they get scared. Let's have a look and see if we can see any birds hiding in these shrubs that are right beside the bird feeder. If you have access to binoculars to help you see the birds, that's great. But many of you may not have binoculars, so it can be really helpful to use the Merlin app. It can identify birds by what you see, or if you click on Sound ID, it will listen for birds and identify any bird calls in the area. Let's see if it finds any. And there it's picking up the house sparrow. You see it turns yellow when they're actually calling. And then it just picked up a chickadee. But you see how that works and how it can help you tune into what you're actually hearing. So we want to make note of everything we've seen or heard and how many of each, and bring that information back to the classroom so that you can enter your data into the eBird program. You can pull up the eBird website, ebird.org. The first time will take you a little longer to submit your report because the first time you'll have to create an account. I'm going to type in my name. I'm just going to make up a username, and let's make up a password, and I'll put in my email from the Pathway Project and create an account. Click the link in the email to activate my account. When I go into eBird, then I click on Submit. And where did I make my observations? Peterborough, Ontario. Now, the first time that I enter data, it's going to ask me to identify exactly where I went birding. Later times, you'll just be able to click on your old location if you're always birding in the same place. Lots of birding hotspots in Peterborough. Now, I was on Harvey Street. I was right here. And that's Harvey Street. Now, the date that I went birding was February 16th. And because I was walking, I'm going to select traveling. Now it will ask me, what time did I start? It was 10:15 a.m. and I was looking for birds for 30 minutes. I walked a very short distance, let's say 0.5, let's say kilometers. You could put in the number of people in your class. Let's imagine that you were with me, 22 people. Okay, ready to go on to the next screen. This pulls up a list of all of the birds that we might have seen at this time of year in Peterborough County. So let's just start at the top, and I have my list with me of what I saw on that outing. 2 Canada geese flew overhead, so I'm going to find Canada goose and put in 2. Now, there were also quite a few rock pigeons. I've got 25 rock pigeons that were perched on a wire, so I'm going to put in 25 rock pigeon. Now, I didn't see any gulls, no herons, didn't see any vultures or hawks, no woodpeckers, but we did hear 3 black-capped chickadees. Didn't see any nuthatches. House sparrow. There were quite a few house sparrows in the bushes right next to the bird feeder. There were at least 12 house sparrows. So I think that's a complete list. So it wants to know if I'm submitting a complete checklist. Yes. And then all I need to do is click submit, and then it tells me my complete list. And that's all there is to it. Once you get more familiar with eBird, you can go exploring. You can see what other birds have been seen by other people in this area. So you can explore the site if you like. So I challenge you to go for a walk in your local neighborhood with your class or with your family. See if you can find at least 3 different species of birds. And can you set up an eBird account and report what you've seen? That will really help with bird conservation. Have fun with your citizen science.